Okay, Wednesday, 6th of March 2024, daily cap trade review for the ES in the NQ. Uh, had a break even day today, not really good. Did some, made some usual mistakes, made some new ones. Regardless, the biggest issue, a problem that I found today was my plan in the ES. The plan for the NQ that I made was rather good, quite okay. But I missed crucial things, structural aspects, while I was making my ES plan. So obviously it looks different here at this point of time, but if you were to look how it looked yesterday while I was making the plan at the hard right edge. So on Tuesday we broke down all morning only to do a V bottom from this bottom of the range, prior all-time highs, uh, ledge from the CVP, and rallied at 20 points or so. Overnight we rallied another 20 points. So my idea was really simple. This is an inflection point as in terms of this being a ledge here. And then this one, although this is, we have a lot of overnight volume being conducted here. Yesterday, a lot of volume at close was conducted here, and since we are ripping higher, even though this is the POC, still, and pretty much the midpoint of this little balance, this thing. So maybe probably not the best place, but with still all this responsive bullishness sort of that came out of yesterday's late afternoon session and continuing overnight. I was willing to put risk on long here, and this level was another one. The main issue was with this level because even though this is kind of ledge, this prior all-time high and this yesterday's high, which has a 14-point gap above, it's an important structural level. In the overall look of things, this is probably the originating balance we looked above, we kind of failed. So even though this is all one big balance, still important structural references. This also marks this little separation of the low volume area if we consider all of this as one big profile. Obviously, this level still looks okay on the CVP. I wouldn't say that it's that bad, but it had this one structural nuance right above it, and it also had one structural important nuance right underneath it. So if we were to go look, so this is the structural nuance on top, this is my level, and yesterday I had this level which I did not mark. I left it. This was resistance all day, all afternoon, from which we broke down. We never really got above it, and then we opened above this resistance. If you were to look on a TPO, it would be very clear. Clear as day on a TPO chart where we had singles to close. Obviously, we opened above it, and then this is the afternoon rally high. Also resistance for 3-4 time periods. So this is an important, very important structural level to monitor. And then this pretty much divides yesterday into two different distributions, one here, and then we're staying pretty much above it. So very important structural level. Now I do have this ledge, but then there is one level right here to contend with, and then one level right here to contend with, which creates a lot of dissonance for this level. And that is something, even though this one I realized and I left it, This one I just kind of just put it away. I did see that there were singles to close, but uh, in my effort of maybe I don't know ranking and distilling my areas of inflection, I chose them uh, or I graded them not how I should have. That was thing which costed me a great deal on yesterday and today. If we see this was this is yesterday's pretty much highest volume media PLC, so the level was absolutely insanely chopped. It wasn't really a pivot. It was where trading was happening at all time frames, in all time periods. It was just a complete chop, a complete mess, and I ended up losing on two trades there, 9 points altogether, just because the level was really not good. Had I kept with my initial thought of this structural level, it would have been rather nice, but obviously I did not, and I ended up paying for it. Another thing in the plan was I was looking for a Wix correlation, as in 1435 has been resistance for quite some time, and Tuesday while we were breaking down, we broke above it, pretty much rallied over it, 7%, 7% rally, and then today we are opening close to this level. So my idea was if we stay above, maybe shorts are a little bit more in line, and then if we come back under, maybe longs are a little bit more preferable. All in all, I was looking for longs first, and then shorts after, mostly because of how we closed yesterday with the V bottom and how we continued overnight straight from there, 40 points from yesterday's low. Obviously, we stayed above 1435 all day, but we still have had good positive excursions. And that was the thing, like, even though we were above 1435, we were negative since yesterday's close. So there's this nuance there again, something I missed, but I did not consider while making my plan, thereby creating a plan which was really not solid. And since I mostly rely upon my plans to guide me, a real disaster for me. In Q similar sort of story, we had this ledge here to contend with. Same thing happened on Tuesday, just like yes, we broke down, we rallied overnight, breakdown all day, we bottom from this gap level, and just continue overnight, 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 and we open right at this inflection area, which is the ledge. Obviously looks different right now, but if you were to look what it looked like yesterday, so it look like a nice little ledge here. This could have been another one just like ES, but I left it because NQ does move quite a bit, so even within this distance, there's ample opportunity. Yeah, this is 75 points worth of difference. And same thing here, even though this one comes to be more in a low volume area rather than a ledge, there was this high volume that built up overnight. This is all yesterday's volume at close, keeping us above yesterday's lower distribution. So this was structurally good level. All in, the plan for NQ was simpler and probably far better. So longs from this region, if we can break above and then come back and hold. And then I did not want to short here just because of the most recent trend that we saw. My idea was if we were to break, I would happily take a long from here. minor ledge, low volume kind of area, plus overnight consolidation, plus similar thing as ES structurally, where we had these singles and this was the support resistance turning into support. And this one is up top. We never really reached there, doesn't really matter. So far better plan on the NQ, and I took two trades on NQ, which both one of them one of them a win, another one should have been a loss, but it was a 6 point win for some reason. Regardless, if we were to look on NQ, this area coincides with the structural importance of this resistance area, afternoon rally high, singles, and all of that. So the plan on NQ came out to be much better than the plan on ES, and that reflected in the trades itself. So starting with the opening, we did break up at the ledge, decent sort of distance, 30-40 points, and then we pulled back. And I hesitated on this first change. It was just 5 minutes into the open, and I hesitated a little bit, and I did not take it. Would have been a loss. So, but yeah, I should have taken that and should have taken that loss. I did enter here, and I took 20 points out of it. But the only reason I took 20 points out of it is because I closed because of the data issues that I've been having. So I just realized that I'm having massive data latency issues in my platform here, almost up to a minute. So basically, when I'm trying to take a trade, I'm getting an entry which is at a price or a level that I haven't seen yet because I have a 1 minute data latency, and that's the thing. It's been happening over the last few days, and I wasn't sure what's going on today. While reviewing my video journal, I realized the massive data latency that I've been having, and I'm not sure how to fix it exactly, but that's something that I need to be mindful of because that's what's been happening. I take a trade and it really just enters me at a level that I do not understand, and I just think that maybe okay, that's the spread, and then this apex or ninja chart is just moving in completely at completely different prices, and I just don't understand what's going on, and I ended up closing it. And for that reason, even though this trade would have been at least a 24.2 to 1, I still took 19 points out of it, but it really was, I just closed it because I did not know at that point of time what's going on. Now I know the data latency issues, but I still don't know how to exactly fix them without changing my antenna or something. And then those were the two morning trades on the NQ. I wasn't looking to short here anyway, so I did not take that short, nor did it ever really provide any sort of entry that I would have taken. While this was going on, ES did provide this long entry at the ledge, which I again hesitated on, and I did not end up taking it. That would have been a loss as well, but I hesitated and I didn't take. Saved myself from that loss to say, and then this was the 10 a.m. Jolts, and this is the 10 a.m. Jolts, which goes down here. So nothing really to do in this section to break out. And then later, when we came back to retest from underneath, I took two shots here, one here, and the other one here. So obviously, at this point of time, I still don't realize that my level is pretty much shit. Things are happening around it. One thing, VIX was still keeping above 1435, so I thought maybe okay, that's a good chance for a short. But again, as I mentioned before, I failed to realize the nuance that it's still negative from yesterday's close, and ES is holding positive, though there's not that much divergence as to say. And I ended up taking two shots. Both of them end up being losses. The way that I took and managed them was okay as per system. Obviously, there were holes in my analysis, and also while we were pulling back for a retest, those retests were really strong. So this is pretty much the Jolts push that brought us down, and we didn't really extend anything at all after that initial Jolts push. So that's the real thing. Although as soon as Jolts came out, buyers tried to hold this place for a minute or two before breaking down. So this was a little bit after Jolts, 2 minutes after, but regardless. And then buyers came in pretty strong. At this point of time, I still don't know this level. I know, but I haven't realized the importance of it. Uh, and when it comes here and booms past, I still don't know that. Okay, it bounced exactly from the pretty much that resistance level before the afternoon rally high from yesterday, and we were coming in pretty strong. So this was not really a weak pullback. This pullback had a lot of buying volume coming in through it, and that is another big issue with this trade, that these pullbacks were really strong, and then the sellers that actually brought us down are not really at this point of time interested in any sort of range extension. And I ended up taking two losses on both of them, and pretty much that was my day on the ES. And NQ, I took this first change. I took this long, and again, because there were data latency issues, even though I was taking this place, in actuality I was taking a long here, and then again that created a discrepancy with my data here and the data on my execution ninja platform because of the data latency here. And then I was actually closing my trade because I was stopping out here. So obviously when I took a trade here, I'm stopping out on my 12-point stop loss. But since this is behind, I actually entered here somewhere, and then when I closed, I ended up with a 6-point profit rather than a loss. And then I really don't know and don't realize what is going on, and I hesitated and missed on taking this trade when it actually happened on my chart. If I So I'm not sure exactly how things panned out, because I was closing and I realized that this should have been a stockpile, but there's a profit, and then the prices are moving differently. And then in that sequence, I don't know if I hesitated first and then decided to drop on the trade, or whether this was in the middle of that little data issue, which I was trying to get my head wrapped around, and then really don't know. But let's just say I hesitated, and even though if I'd entered, the entry would have been somewhere here 1 minute later, and I would have again not understood. But the main point here we'll say is that I hesitated on taking that trade, and pretty much I hesitated on taking the low of the day long. So I hesitated on one trade earlier, which would have been a loss, and then I hesitated again on one trade here, which would have been a win. Overall, I would have come out much better, far more positive, had I just taken whatever my system asked me to take, which I did not, and nothing really happened after that for me. So from there, we just rallied higher. Obviously, I did not join anywhere here, and now it's reclaiming the level again, but it doesn't really extend out that much. So these are not really much, it's still pretty much chopping in the level, so it really needs to extend and pull back and go. It did not, which is okay. So I did not take that. And that was my day. And then if I had kept my initial plan of having this gap close level, which was also the prior day's high, and sorry, this prior all-time high in this level, I would have been able to take this trade in the morning. Not to say that I would have taken, but at least that there would have been an opportunity which either I would have taken advantage of or not, and maybe would have been here these trades, but those would have been losses. The gap close was also another ledge which I decided to just leave out. But probably I should have understood that coming out of this distribution and then this ledge is important, especially if we have been covering so much distance, but that's not the point. Overall, really just a weak plan on the yesterday. And then momentum really stalled. This is like 3 hour worth of period, and then we have a 20-point drop in 2 minutes. And in the NQ, we have a 90-point drop in 2 minutes. It was really fast, really sharp. Massive liquidation break. Where we just eye opened and we just broke down solid, and then we came even underneath Ace low and all of that. Similar thing on the ES. Eye opens up and we just liquidate pretty much towards the low of the day, 6-7 points away. And that drop was really sharp, really fast, and at least for me, really unexpected. And I did not know how to handle anything after that. It was something rather new. It was vicious, and even though it did create this opportunity here in the NQ, I was really not sure how to take it, given that we just dropped 90 points, and anything after that I left things in this section. Even with this shit level, it did give us something here, maybe a loss here or something here, but really wasn't interested. And at this point of time, I realized how my level was not really any good, and I ended up not taking it. And then after that 90-point drop, we pulled back quite a bit, and then we dropped some more, and I just really leave everything to it. And you can just see how this bottom support or resistance from yesterday, how it really held all day. So how good a structural level that was. Similarly, how the actual prior time high and prior day high with this little ledge were far more superior pivots than this level, which pretty much became the most traded price for today. And that was that on the ES, and similar on NQ. After these two drops, VWAP just really completely flattened out, and it was just two-way action, back and forth. Obviously, in hindsight, there are heaps of opportunities here to go short, especially we are in a level where I wanted to take a trade at, but VIX is going higher at this point in time, but my initial plan was not to take a short off of this level, but more of it was just how the vicious that fall was and how unaccustomed I am to that kind of volatility. I can't even remember the last time I saw this kind of drop. And I just left everything to it. I did not do anything all afternoon. Pretty much just sat on hands, even though there were good opportunities here. I just sat on hand. And that was my entire day. So really some data issues, a lot of hesitation issues. We ended up closing back into this distribution, which just says that we just need fresh information hitting the market to either go and discover new higher prices or just maybe pull back a bit, relax a little bit. Needs to be seen. Powell testifies again today, although yesterday didn't really create that much of a difference because his speech is already printed and handed out in the morning. So yeah, nothing really happened as such. That was my day. And then this level holding again overnight. Which was the overnight consolidation and this volume at close. At that point, at least yesterday, the POC. And then decent little bit off of here. 12, 15 points, not bad. Regardless, here's to making a better plan for tomorrow. Something cleaner, something a bit more refined, and somewhere where I picked and chose rather well. Anyway, that's it. Awesome.